And what I've really found here and in the military is everybody's trying to do the right thing. Everybody's pushing in the right direction, and it's just trying to cohere that and making sure that we're all going in the same direction, because everybody's doing their best. And if we can all go in broadly the same direction, we'll get there quicker.
Will never fall on your lap. And that's one bit of advice I will give to someone. You have to seek those opportunities. But when you do find them and you approach the right people, they never turn a blind eye. Like Leonardo promotes growth and will invest in the people who want to progress.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the DevLab Podcast. Today, we are joined by Charlene Hemmels, who is a Helicopter Mechanical Instructor at Leonardo. Charlene, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
And Stephen Conran, who is an Engineering Capability Lead at Leonardo. Stephen, welcome to you too.
Thanks, Phil.
Awesome. So look, we're going to start with just getting a bit of insight into your career journey first, Shah. I think it's a good place to start in any podcast. Let's introduce you to the guests. So you earned a degree in sports science, then kind of transitioned into the military as an aircraft technician, and now you work as a helicopter mechanical instructor. What inspired you, in each of these career shifts, and what drew you to Leonardo ultimately?
Okay, so I'll go right back to the beginning. So I went to university because it kind of was the done thing around about that time in my life. So I kind of just did what everyone else was doing, and I picked the one thing I was good at, and that was like sciencey type stuff and sport. So I went down that avenue and enjoyed myself for 3 years, and the degree was the bonus at the end of it, shall I say in a few words. I finished my degree and kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do after that. I just knew I wanted to do something I enjoyed, earn some good money, and kind of stay within that science sort of sector. I moved back in with my parents, and I was hoping this wasn't going to be for very long, because once you move out and move back in, it's a completely different story. So yeah, I thought, I grew up as a military background. Like my dad's in the Air Force, so I've moved around my whole life, and I thought, do you know what? That's probably something I could do again. I had nothing tying me at home or anything like that. So I took myself off to the Army Careers Office and found out what I was good at. You do something, you do loads of different tests, and they build a bit of a profile for you and assess your capability to meet certain roles. And aircraft technician was the one that popped up as my number one kind of suitability. And I thought, oh, brilliant, that, it's still within that science sort of sector, and you get a trade. So that was something that was important to me, is to have a trade, something I can identify as and take forward with me in the future. So yeah, that led me to the military as an aircraft technician. I served just shy of 5 years in the military. I worked my way up quite rapidly to an aircraft technician supervisor, but I was kind of struggling with my work-life balance a little bit. My priorities were changing as I was getting older. I wanted to start a family. And with my partner, she still serves as well. So trying to work that out between us, she wasn't away, I was away, and, trying to make that work, that dynamic was difficult. So I made the really difficult decision to leave. And then that led me to Leonardo. I actually got approached on LinkedIn for the role that I didn't think I'd be good enough to do. So I actually didn't apply for it because, again, I didn't think I was suitable for it. But once they told me a little bit more about it and kind of boosted my confidence, having that ability to show my military skills and the attributes that I'd gained through there, they really helped me adapt that and put it into different words that might make a little bit more sense. So yeah, being able to have the role that I'm in now and use the skills that I learned over the military has been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that led me to be an instructor at the training academy in Yeovil.
Thank you so much. And I know obviously Leonardo do hire a lot of people from a service background. We may well have people listening in now that are currently serving in various different services that are thinking about making that same transition you have. So how was that transition from the military into a civilian role? And you kind of touched on it a little bit there, but how did your kind of military experience help shape your approach to your current role?
So my transition has definitely been a positive one. I don't know whether that's due to me having not served for very long in comparison to some people, but the transition is known to be quite difficult. I think because I've gone into a space where a lot of the people I work with are ex-military, and it operates in quite a similar way, it takes a similar sort of mold. I haven't really noticed the difference apart from I'm getting paid more and I'm working, I've got a better work-life balance. And yeah, so everyone in the office is kind of ex-military. So we still have that sort of family environment and that sense of belonging kind of thing. And we really bounce off each other and still have that element of banter that some other people can't really appreciate. So I think that definitely helped. And then Leonardo as well has what's called the Armed Forces Network. And I'm sure Stephen might touch on that as well. And it really brings that community together. It gives people the opportunity to share a space, a safe space that come from the Armed Forces background, not necessarily that are served, but people who have spouse or family that are serving or have served in the past. So it really is somewhere for us to talk about things that other people might not understand.
Fantastic. No, thank you so much. And Stephen, I know we hadn't kind of prepped for this question beforehand, but I just wondered if you had anything you'd like to add on that transition process for anyone out there listening in.
Yeah, kind of similar journey into Leonardo, albeit I wasn't headhunted, but at the same time it's similar. Once I got inside the sort of transition, I was applying for lots of different roles when I was leaving the army, Leonardo being one of them, but Leonardo wasn't my top choice, which might sound a strange thing to say. I was chasing a role with another business, but then once I was getting ready to prepare for my Leonardo interview, I reached back to some friends who I'd served with, who were currently working with Leonardo, just to sort of get a flavour for the company, sort of learn more about our product lines and stuff like that, just to help me prepare for the interview. And I was really blown away by the level of help that I was given to prepare for that interview, and that's bled into now our Armed Forces Network, where it's quite new. Our Armed Forces Network, it's only just over 2 years old. We've got lots of veterans in the business, but we didn't have a formal recognised network, and now we're starting to do more and more things as a network. We're starting to sort of reach from our network inside, reach back and help service leavers, help veterans. So yeah, it's that sort of veteran community, which is really, really positive and really reassuring, I think.
Fantastic. Yeah, look, definitely sounds like a win-win scenario, right? It sounds like a great environment for people who are leaving the armed services to transition into a role that still allows them to use those transferable skills. And I'm sure Leonardo reaped a lot of benefits from people coming in with all that domain knowledge, which is going to be huge, and all those transferable skills that are going to help Leonardo to achieve their goals as well. Char, we're going to come back to you and kind of just dig in a little bit into your kind of day-to-day. Could you share what a typical day-to-day looks like as a helicopter mechanical instructor, and what aspect of this role are the most rewarding, do you find?
Okay, so my job is different every day, and I'm not just saying that. It really is what you make it, in a sense. So my role as an instructor, we primarily develop and design courseware to meet the demands of a customer. So when a customer, international military, for example, buys one of our aircraft, they stipulate what they want from us in regards to a training point of view. So we will develop that courseware from a mechanical avionics point of view. We also have flying training. That's way cooler than what I do. But I do the ground school element. So all the mechanical systems such as landing gear and things like that. So we develop that courseware using our LMS system, our learning management system. And then we deliver that training through theoretical classroom-based training and also practical. So we have like a little mini hangar environment where the students can conduct practical tasks, simulating what they'd experience in the real world when they get back to where they are based, either overseas or elsewhere. So that's kind of it, really. Day-to-day life is, teaching or developing, looking at engineering documents and picking out the bits that are needed for our courseware. Because if I'm teaching a mechanical system and I've got mechanics that I need to teach, they might have a greater depth of engineering stuff that they need to know in comparison to a pilot. They might need to know different levels of information. So it's making that decision as to what level of knowledge the customer or the student is going to want to receive. So it's not just those kind of mechanical systems I do internal training as well. So I do training for internal employees that they have to do either annually or biannually to keep up with their competencies. So an example of that would be human factors. So it's more of a facilitation rather than teaching or instructing. It's more bringing a group of people together and discussing what could impact or have a negative effect on the safe environment that they work in, and just allowing that to become a space for them to discuss the issues that they might have, how we discuss aviation safety and the impacts of what they do things at work, or if they've seen things that have happened, how we can mitigate from that.
Fantastic. Yeah, sounds like a really dynamic role, I'm sure. Keeps you on your toes, keeps it interesting. Yes. Fantastic. Look, final question for you, and then Stephen, we'll delve into some of your experience as well. Is, you mentioned a little bit earlier finding a similar sense of belonging at Leonardo as you kind of experienced in the military. You may have already touched on these things, but what do you think really contributes to that supportive culture, and how does that impact your day-to-day work?
I definitely think it's you belong somewhere at Leonardo, no matter what department you fall into. And you see that from whenever you talk to people throughout the wider business. All these different, I've just touched on the Armed Forces Network Group, but there are so many more. We have an LGBTQ, that's, the Pride Network, and we have other different networks as well, an Equalise Network, I think it's called. But lots of different places where people go when they feel like they fit into a certain a mold where they can discuss certain things. And it's a very welcoming environment. I can only speak on behalf of myself, but the department I work in has been absolutely phenomenal. And I truly thought that when I was leaving the military, I was going to have a void there about that belonging, but it's just never sort of appeared. I've kind of just slotted in I've left one family and joined another. And I honestly think it's the collaborative environment that we work in that allows that to happen.
Fantastic. Yeah, definitely sounds like it's a blend of the best of both worlds, is awesome. Stevie, you've patiently been waiting, but now it'd be great to kind of find out a bit more about your experience as well. So you've obviously got an extensive background in the military and are now in engineering management. How do you apply the skills you gained in the military to your current role?
Very similar to what Charles said. No 2 days are the same for me. So I really need to be flexible, really need to be agile and adaptable. So I don't think I've changed my approach at all. I think it's been quite a seamless transition. I don't think I've changed as a person. I've just continued to do what I did in the military and those sort of softer skills that I built over the long time that I served in the army, because I was there for nearly 29 years. It's just a case of keeping the communication skills open, keeping conversations going, understanding what it is that people want, understanding what it is they want from me, prioritising the tasks that I need to do. But really the main thing is, if I'm looking at a particular aspect of a particular project, try and understand the second and third order effects of what we're going to do today, what's that going to do later, to try and almost analyse what we're doing and make sure that it's going to have a better impact and it's going to add even more value at the end of the day. And it's just really been flexible, agile, and what I've really found fits here and in the military is everybody's trying to do the right thing, everybody's pushing in the right direction, and it's just trying to cohere that and making sure that we're all going in the same direction, because everybody's doing their best, and if we can all go in broadly the same direction, we'll get there quicker, as opposed to pulling in little different sort of fragmented directions. But just remain flexible, I think, is the sort of summary.
Fantastic. And look, that's a great segue into the next topic, because obviously as engineering capability lead, collaboration and cross-divisional collaboration in particular is a big focus. So how do you approach fostering that culture of collaboration across divisions, and what skills have been most helpful in advancing the success of these projects?
I think because we are split into different divisions, and I have had some interactions with other divisions quite early on when I joined the business. And the thing that broke it down for me and opened doors for me, I went to a recruiting event, a REME specific recruiting event, and I got some assistance from somebody from Cyber Division who didn't come from a REME background, like me, came from a different background. But because we made that connection, we built that rapport at that recruiting event, that then gave me the in when I had to speak to someone else in Cyber Division. I was like, right, I don't really know who I need to speak to. I know the team, but I don't really know anybody there. So I went to the point of contact that I'd met before, because I built that relationship, we built that understanding. And I think that cross-divisional collaboration is absolutely possible. And the world's a really small place now because we're so digitally connected. It's just making that initial connection, building that rapport in order to know who you need to speak to. And then even if it's not the right person, they can point you in the right direction. And I've done that. And the Armed Forces Network really helps with that. I can't stress enough how helpful it is. Because Charles coming from helicopters, I'm in the electronics division. The example just references somebody in Cyber Division. But having the Armed Forces Network and having points of contact in each of the three divisions is really helpful. There's always a sort of a friendly face at the end of a Teams call that you can go to and get a steer in the right direction, as it were.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And I think going back to, a point you made a little bit earlier in the podcast, you mentioned that, you hadn't initially set out maybe specifically looking at Leonardo as that next opportunity, but then you were really drawn to their mission, their mission around national security. What was it really that leapt out at you? What was it that really kind of grabbed your attention about that?
When I was looking into the products at Leonardo, I didn't know that much about it before, and I found that when I've been helping recruitment, many people don't know what we do. But the sheer vast array of products that we've got, it touches every single space in the military. I am up in Edinburgh on our radar and advanced targeting systems line of business, which is very sort of Air Force focused, but we've got land-based projects, we've got sea-based projects, we're touching all parts of it. And it might sound a little bit cheesy, but we had our Remembrance event, our Armistice Day event, and I was really moved by the amount of colleagues that many of them have never served a day in their life, who were really keen to mark that event. And it was really reassuring to see so many of my colleagues there giving that event the respect that it absolutely deserves. And it really hammers home this whole force concept that although I'm no longer in the military, I'm playing a small part to help the military every single day. And many of my colleagues have never served. They're playing a small part every single day. They live and breathe the whole force concept. And it's really reassuring. It makes me really proud to work for Leonardo and have an input to defence still.
Fantastic. And look, I think you touched on a really important point there. For anyone out there listening in, considering that next world who maybe hasn't served, there are opportunities within Leonardo for all sorts of people. And if you want to be part of advancing national security, if you want to be part of supporting the military in different ways, then absolutely this is an opportunity that you can do so without, directly serving yourself. So absolutely, to anyone out there listening in, looking for that next role in technology, the content today sounds interesting, check out Leonardo. We'll make sure that we have all of the relevant links in the podcast description to make sure you can get in touch with the relevant people, because really Leonardo are hiring across the board for all sorts of different roles and people from all sorts of different backgrounds. And final question for you, Stephen, and I'm going to confuse as well on this one, Char, and then we've got a couple of questions to kind of round out. But I wanted to delve into the growth programs within the business. So there are several career development programs, tools available at Leonardo. Could you share a little bit more about these opportunities and how they support career growth? And Stephen, to you first, please.
Yeah, sure. We've got a few sort of general tools that people can access. And so I normally commute to work on the train, and we've got access to Coursera, we've got access to LinkedIn Learning, and I'll find that in my sort of daily commute, I will be able to access my personal device as well. I can go into LinkedIn Learning as an example, I go into Coursera, and I can just keep myself ticking over. It passes the time on my commute, and I'm just adding to the skill set, and I'm sort of just polishing little skills, little bits and bobs. But there's more strategic things that you can do. There's more, there's bigger programs as well. But the stuff I'm talking about when I'm on the commute, it's just little things, to pass the time, to sort of keep me current, keep me active, just keep my skills ticking over, keep me sort of relevant, and just keep my currency up. But sort of the bigger, broader programs, we've got three that I can think of that spring to mind. We've got a Navigator program, we've got a Springboard program, and we've got a Succeed to Lead program. And they're very sort of company-wide available. I think the Navigator one's for men to take part in. The Springboard one's a sort of female-specific one. The Succeed to Lead one is a mixture, targeting slightly different audience with slightly different aims, but they tend to give you wider education, wider leadership experience, and also wider exposure to the business. I went to a webinar for the Succeed to Lead one recently, and it just gives you an opportunity to act out with your normal day-to-day job, and it gives you wider business exposure, gives you wider access to sort of senior leaders around the business to just sort of bring back extra skills that you learn when you're on these programs. And it's really about the career progression and development opportunities. Much, that it's not free, as in terms of you need to put in the effort, you need to attend the lessons, you need to take part in all the exercises and do the work that's required of you. But there's just, it's good to see that the learn development, they're providing these opportunities for people to take part in and really develop themselves. But it comes back to, it is a personal development thing, but it will open opportunities and hopefully open doors in the future for the people that take part in these programs. I think it's a really good thing that we do. It's really good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And look, I think again, these years when you're listening in, not only is it a fantastic culture, very family feel, opportunity to have a big impact on national security, but also an opportunity to grow yourself, build on your own skills, and ultimately become, a better developer, product manager, whatever role you might be going into. Char, I wanted to come to you with a similar question. I know you mentioned, obviously, you're part of the L&D process within Leonardo. You're delivering some courses, but on a personal level, what sort of career development have you undertaken? Have you had access to these courses as well? And what's your experiences?
Yeah, I've had only a positive experience in regards to my CPD. Like Stephen touched on a lot of things there, LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, all those are opportunities that are provided to better your skills and to provide what you need to progress. The one thing I will mention is it's never really, will never fall on your lap. And that's one bit of advice I will give to someone. You have to seek those opportunities. But when you do find them and you approach the right people, they never turn a blind eye. Like Leonardo promotes growth and will invest in the people who want to progress. I attended a night school to enhance my teaching qualifications, which was completely funded for. And, if you don't ask, you don't get. And that was a prime example of that. I went to my manager and said, look, I've found a course that I think would benefit the department. It would benefit me. What are the chances of me being able to go? And, I got a big thumbs up. So that's just a small example of the things that, show the support that you do get when it comes to CPD.
Fantastic. Great. And yeah, like I said, I'm sure music to the ears of anyone out there listening in. Definitely sounds like a great supportive culture that really promotes the development of all the staff. Fun couple of questions are going to be directed to both of you. So, Stephen, if we come to you maybe first on this one. And so give your background. What advice would you give to someone considering a career transition similar to yours, particularly into roles within the tech or defense industry?
Good question. If you should be reaching out to people. If it's within Leonardo, you should be contacting people that already work there to try and see if they'll give you some of their time and help you sort of increase your understanding, increase your awareness, and it will just make you more rounded, more informed before you submit any application. But it's not just Leonardo. There's so many opportunities out there. There's so many people in the veterans community. There's so many veterans specific groups that are there to. The problem is probably narrowing down what it is you want to do. And when you go through if you're coming from the military, when you go through the career transition partnership, the first thing they say, you need to narrow down what it is you want to do. That's the really difficult part for people in the military. But gain an understanding of what it is you like, what it is you want to do. Once you've got that, you should then start channeling your research and all your investigation and all your networking activities towards that. And there's various networking events and sort of in-person events as well. I think it's a really good thing to get involved in. But I would just really, I would use this sort of the network of people, current employees and sort of veterans network as well, if you're coming from a sort of veteran position as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Charles, same question to you. If you could go back and have a chat with your younger self, what advice would you be really trying to pass on?
And just to echo what Stephen said, there's so much help out there for free. People are willing to give their time and their effort if you go and look for it. So get yourself active, get yourself networking. You can never ask too many questions. You can never seem too keen. That's not a thing when applying for roles. It's not a thing. You need to know what you want to do, exactly like Stephen said. There's so many job fairs and career fairs where you have the opportunity to go and ask those questions. Do some job interview prep. I didn't know when I left the military what I needed to do in regards to an interview. And for some people, that seems really silly. But when you come in from a military background, doing a job interview or writing a CV is not something that can potentially come naturally. So, I went on, I think I did an online course for CV writing. Again, all for free, found on LinkedIn, spoke to someone and practiced and rehearsed job interviews. Even if it was something like for a completely made up role, it's getting that feedback from somebody else sitting at the other side of the table. So yeah, just some small bits of advice, but network, do your research and practice really.
Fantastic. Yeah, look, great advice. And I think, for anyone out there that is considering that transition, there are so many transferable skills. And I think one thing that's really come through from this whole podcast is it's almost beyond a community, right? It's a family. You've got a huge family when you've been involved in the military. And these people that have already gone on this journey are happy to share their time, happy to give advice. So the first step starts with, sending that message or reaching out to someone. And it's really just taking that step. And from there, following that thread and, and really kind of leveraging that network or that family. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So the final question again to both of you. So Shah, we'll come to you first on this one. What aspect of working at Leonardo resonate most with your personal values? And what is it that really keeps you motivated in your day-to-day work?
I think I've always been really proud of what I do, and I make it, my job is really, really important to me, and I have to be happy in what I'm doing. And I think that because Leonardo takes such pride in what we do, I feel a huge part of it and proud to be a part of it. So I think that's really, really key for me.
Fantastic. Excellent. And Stevie?
I need to be part of a team. Me personally, I love being part of a team. It's what drives me on. I don't think it'd be good if I was in a role where I was just working on my own and it didn't feel like I was feeding into something bigger. I just don't think I would like that. So I really need to be part of a team, and it feels like a real team. But my team's it's not what I'm used to in the military, but it is a team, and we're almost like a team of teams here in the site in Edinburgh. There's 2,000 of us, and I view it as there's 2,000 of us in the same team, and then within that bigger team, it's broken down into smaller teams, whether that be in the IPTs or in engineering functions. But it's teams of teams, and what really struck me in the first few months I was here in Leonardo, what really struck me, I was chatting to some young engineers. They were immensely proud of the products they worked on. They were almost too proud. They were like in my face telling me, if we're at a social event, they were in my face telling me, I work in this product, let me tell you about this, let me tell you about that, this product does this, and I'm working on this update. And I was like, all right, mate, can I get a pint first? Then you could tell me more about it. But it was honestly the enthusiasm and the pride they have in their work and the job satisfaction they have, it's really, really infectious. And here at Leonardo, we've got lots of early careers people and lots of mature engineers as well, with a bit of a hollow middle. But the early years, the sort of junior engineers and the sort of not just engineering across the whole other lines of business, all the other business functions, our young people are, they're going to be the bedrock of our business going forward, and their attitude and their motivation is inspirational. Even as a sort of slightly older person, it's really inspirational and it's really enthusing listening to them and seeing how proud they are of the job that they do. That keeps me motivated to keep pace with them, to keep going with them. It's a really cool place to work. Really, really good. Great culture.
Fantastic. Well, look, I think the word infectious is really poignant there. You want to feel like your colleagues have the same passion as you. You want to feel like everyone's committed across the business to doing quality work. And I think when you can really feel that and see that drives everyone on, to work towards the goals that have been set. Thank you so much to both of you. And sort of everyone out there listening in, if you're looking for that next step, regardless of what role you're looking at, Leonardo hire across all sorts of different roles within technology and outside of technology. So if you are looking for that next step, regardless of your background, it's always worth starting the conversation. Like I said, we'll include all of the relevant links in the podcast description. And I would encourage anyone out there to reach out. Fantastic opportunity to join a business with a family culture, shared goals, opportunities to develop and learn, and build on your skills, and obviously work in some very dynamic roles. So yeah, it sounds like a fantastic opportunity. So all that leaves me to do is just say thank you so much for joining us today, Char.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Phil.
Great. And Stephen, thanks to you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for having us on.
And thanks to everyone out there listening in as ever. And we'll be back with another episode in future. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about the podcast. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.